I mean, Red Bull was incredibly dominant in 2023, probably the most dominant year ever in the history of motor racing. And they started the same way in 2024. Have you any idea, of course you left then in April, but have you any idea why all of a sudden there were 3 other cars which could win a race on their own merit?
Obviously part of that was McLaren and in particular and Ferrari as well, developing their cars and doing a very good job of developing their cars. I think Red Bull, from what I could see, the car was already the 24 car, and through the very last stages of 23 as well, I would say, starting to become more difficult to drive. And of course that suited, Max could handle that if you like. It didn't suit him, but he could handle it.
Yep.
Checo couldn't. So he also started through 20C to see more of a difference in performance between the teammates, Max and Checo. That carried into the first part of 24, but the car was still quick enough to be able to cope with it. It's something I was starting to become concerned about, but not many other people in the organisation seem to be very concerned about. And from what I can see from the outside, but I don't know, the guys at Red Bull, this is no criticism, but I think they just, perhaps through lack of experience, kept going in that same direction. And the problem became more and more acute to the point that even Max found it difficult to drive.
Yeah, I think that they tried it to cure a little bit with the setup. That is now a general question, because you are also famous to set up cars or to have a lot of knowledge about setting up cars. To what extent a setup can cover or can correct design mistakes, and at what stage you have to say, no, I have to go back to the drawing board?
I don't think setup can mask problems to an extent, but the problem is still there.
Yeah.
To me, setup is more simply optimizing the characteristics of the car, and of course then to an extent driver, but I think that's over-egged. I think it's mainly to complement the characteristics of the car, and then of course some circuit to circuit variation depending on the nature of the circuit.